host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, welcome to the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace, always being that consumer advocate for you here in Tampa Bay in the Gulf Coast region of Florida. Your number one consumer advocate, top real estate company here in Tampa Bay as well. We got some interesting content today with Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group. We're about to jump into this story about debt, and not only the government's debt, but also credit card debt about to surpass $1 trillion for the first time ever. We're going to talk about that, the debt ceiling debate as well. And also this open border. What are the ramifications of that? Title 42 expired. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy, in studio as well. And he's bringing in a special guest with him also. So we got a great lineup for you. Before we jump into this content, we always like to feature our real estate listings. It's part of our strategy, part of our USP. If you're in business, you understand that is your unique selling proposition. It's things that I teach in my Win with Sellers class, is developing that. But we have a great opportunity here to feature our listings live on air and maximize the exposure and the profit on the sale of our real estate properties. 3704 Burger Road is a mansion in Lutz, Florida. This is a gorgeous property, 10,000 square feet, 9 bedrooms, 12 baths. You got no CDD or HOA fees. You got a beautiful indoor pool and just a large pool area with a full bar, oversized deck, perfect to throw those parties that you might want to throw. Full tennis court, library, movie theater, sauna, 2 master suites, a grand balcony, and more. Beautiful property, 3704 Burger Road in Lutz, Florida. That's Hillsborough County, and that is a must-see. $2.3 million listing from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. We got another hot listing here in Lakeland, Florida, 1312 Edgewater Beach Drive in beautiful Polk County. This is Lakeland, Florida. This is a waterfront on a lake. It's on Lake Parker. 3,056 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 bath, 2-story home on Lake Parker. No HOA. Wood-burning fireplace in the living room. Beautiful pool, deck, and fire pit. Move-in ready. Gorgeous property. Owners are motivated. They will do any repairs within or renovations within something that would be within 10 days of closing, and they will clear out the water plants as well. 1312 Edgewater Beach Drive, Lakeland, Florida. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Yeah, I'm raising my glass to those saving our ass overseas.
That's right. And we got Mark Haye in the house. Mark Haye, welcome in, sir.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Yes, sir. A lot of ground to cover with you today. I want to give a quick shout out to Innovative Solar as well, innovativesolarfl.com. Check them out. If you're thinking about solar, reach out to our friends at innovativesolarfl.com. Ann and the team, they do a great job. Residential, commercial, solar, innovativesolarfl.com. All right, Mark Haye. Mark, where do you want to start? I know we wanted to get into the debt ceiling. That debate, we got the border that's wide open as well, and have you seen on social all those people just flowing through? I mean, it's an invasion.
Yeah, well, that Title 42 is ending, and basically people don't know that was the COVID. They basically shut the border down. Nobody can come in because of COVID, and then that's ending. So all that means is open the floodgates, and we're going to start letting people in and try to do it legally. But we all know that we have a serious problem at the border, and it looks like it's only going to get worse now. You feel bad. It should be
remain in Mexico too. It should be, hey, okay, we understand. Go back to Mexico. We'll get you on the docket.
Right, exactly. Well, the problem is there's such a big backlog that by the time you're on the docket and it's your turn, we're talking years later. So that's why they just sneak in. I mean, it's not worth the wait.
Yeah. Well, we let them in.
Yeah, we let them in.
Since it changed.
But unfortunately, with that ending, it is going to be a little bit more people coming through the border. And I feel for the border agents. I feel for people in Texas that are on that border that have to deal with this. We're lucky in Florida that we don't have to deal with this, right? We don't see it. We feel it, with fentanyl and drugs and all the violence that's coming through. We see it, we feel it, but we don't have to be in reality and right at the border. So I feel for those people, but there's going to be some serious things happening on the border that's already been happening with that Title 42 ending, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand, we're sending another $1 billion to Ukraine to solidify their border and keep them safe, but at the same time we can't spend that money here. The United States is keeping our borders safe and keeping us safe from the same type harm.
It's treasonous. To me, it's treasonous.
We talk on a little bit about it. I have no problem if we need to help people or a country or do something where we're going to send money over, but I like to see where that money's going. You know, is it going to homes? Are we fixing up homes, buying homes, or buildings? What are we doing? Do we have shelters, or is it food supply for people that are not? What is it? You know, just sending an endless check somewhere, and I don't care what country, doesn't make any sense to me. You know, what's the timeline? What's the budget? You know, when do we win? When are we done? You know, we don't have anything other than we're sending money. It's not just send money; it's our money. You know, it's all the taxpayer money, and certainly I think that we should view that. Where is it? You know, where is it going? What is it doing? You know, so I have a real problem with just sending money infinitum somewhere and not knowing where it's going, what it's doing. Meanwhile, we have all these problems at our border, and we can't do that. And I can't remember. I think it was Trump wanted $6 billion or something to finish that border wall. Okay, something so small compared to what we sent over to Ukraine at this point. Was $100-some billion we sent over there. I mean, we could have built, I mean, the best walls ever on our border for $10 billion. You know what I mean? Just a fraction of the cost, and we wouldn't have this kind of problem. So it does bother me.
You could have built a beautiful wall. I mean, it's a beautiful wall. It's a great
beautiful
wall.
Taj Mahal walls. You know, but so that's ending, and then we got the debt ceiling. June 1st, Janet Yellen just made an announcement, and it's, of course, our Congress is making emergency meetings now because we're out of money come June 1st, and if we don't do something, cut, raise taxes, or just raise the debt ceiling, we don't have any money to pay the bills. And all that means is we actually spend more money than we bring in. As simple as that. And so if we don't raise the debt ceiling, that means we can't loan money out, you know, to us. You know, we got to borrow the money to pay the bills. And, you know, another thing that just kind of irks me a little bit on this is it seems like every 6 months or every 12 months when we come to this debt ceiling crisis and we got to raise the debt ceiling, why do we have to act now and say, okay, now we got to do something, which we don't do anything. But why can't we, like, hey, let's get this budget thing under control instead of having the debt ceiling every 6 months be raised and we're out of money? Let's do that. You know what I mean? Let's make cuts, what we got to do. And we talk about all the time, taxes are going to go up. They have to go up because, unfortunately, with the debt ceiling it's going to be raised. We know that. 2 weeks away. There's no way Congress is going to do anything.
It's $31.4 trillion U.S. dollar debt limit in an attempt to head off potential default. The U.S. Treasury Department says government risks running out of cash to pay its bills as early as June 1st. Analysts say default could destabilize U.S. economy and global markets, push up unemployment, and disrupt Social Security payments.
Yeah. I mean, you got Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, you got pension plans, you got all this stuff that needs to be paid. These are obligations that we have to fulfill, but we don't have the money to do it. And so we know the Trump tax ends in a year. We know this problem we're having with the debt, and that's why we keep saying you got to get money into a tax-free vehicle because if taxes double, from 25 to 50, that's a big difference. You just lost 25% of your income in retirement just because the Congress can't get it together and put together a budget, a plan, and stay under that budget. And then you talk about consumer debt. Okay, consumer debt's going to be over $1 trillion of credit card debt, just credit card debt. It's no different than the government. It's just a bigger entity. Now we look at a household, you know. It's really hard to cut things out. You know, for example, you know, you got the internet, I got TV packages, you know, you got telephone and internet, whatever.
Food, groceries.
You gotta start cutting things that say, hey, we can probably go without all this TV channels for a little bit. You know, but people don't want to do it, you know, because it's hard to do that, and so they charge and credit card. And here we are trying to maintain a lifestyle that everybody had, but the price of goods have gone up so much that we can't afford it. You know, everyday American, let's say a family household, American makes $100,000 or less, family of 4. Well, the price of goods has gone up everywhere so much.
Tremendous.
That their income's not going up, but the price of eggs and chicken and gasoline and clothes and school supplies and whatever has gone up so much that you just got to charge it. And then hopefully you can get through this, and hopefully you get a bonus, hopefully you get a raise, or hopefully you get this. But reality is you got to start cutting. You know, you can't have the brand new car or the brand new clothes. I'm sorry, the birthday is going to be a little bit lighter this year. It is what it is, but it's really hard to do that. And that's just the household. Now the government, like we talked about, they need to do it on a bigger scale, but they don't want to do it either. You know?
Well, the problem is too is we have stagnant growth. We've got stagflation with inflation. So we've got inflation, stagflation kicking in. There's a clip from Navarro. He's talking about the confidence. Consumer confidence is at an all-time low, historic low in consumer confidence. Consumers should be spending less, but I guess they're not. There's disproportionate amount of spending, 3.7% consumer spending. So when you combine that with the GDP report, 1.1% is the GDP growth. That's stagnant growth, Mark.
Stagnant. And we're in a society with a social media and everything's out in front of you and everybody's on vacations and you see all these people doing all these things and you think that, wow, they can do that. And so everybody wants to keep up with the Joneses.
Yep.
I want to keep this facade. I want to keep this. And so they put themselves in a personal debt in a situation where it's not a good situation to be in.
Yeah.
Because again, you don't want to cut. You don't want to look like you're not doing well. You want to keep up with the Joneses. And I saw so and so on Instagram, and they're going on vacation again, and we haven't taken a vacation, so we're going to do it and just charge it. And
Yep.
it's a vicious cycle. But I saw, I think President Biden's rating was 35% or something at this point.
It's garbage.
And then his interview about the inflation being 8.3%, which is the highest it's been in 40-some years. And the answer he gave was so weak. Well, it only went up a little bit month after month, if
Yeah.
not, stay stagnant. Well, it doesn't really help. What's the plan of action? Like, how do
Yeah.
we get it to come down? How do we
Yeah.
get the cost of goods to come down? What is a plan that we can look at and go, okay, yeah, if we can do that, we can drop inflation by a little bit or the cost of goods by a little bit. But we have no plan.
No, they don't.
And it's really disheartening. And I feel bad for people that are struggling pay to paycheck, have this situation and credit card debt and paying bills, and there's no plan.
Yeah. Well, the plan for them is to keep the war on fossil fuels going, cater to the climate goal. Let's put solar everywhere. I got an electric vehicle. Okay, well, that power still comes from somewhere. That's the thing with people that have electric vehicles. It's like, they're doing all this great thing. No, the power's still coming from somewhere. And by the way, where do you think how are we going to recycle those solar in the electric batteries? And you know what's happening in China and Africa? They're slaves mining those minerals that go into that. I mean, this economy is on a bad track. Also, China's got some major issues too. So you're looking at a world, potentially a world collapse in a lot of different ways. And of course, then that's without even mentioning the dollar going south and the BRICS potentially rising up.
Yeah, I mean, like in the countries that are getting away from the dollar, as the number one currency, that comes into effect. So a lot of scary things are happening. Some of the bank failures, and I don't think we saw the end of these banks failing. I think it's just kind of like you're going to see some more. And I get the same question all the time from people and clients. Well, if the banks are failing, what about the life insurance companies or a financial institution? What about all them? They're going to do the same thing, right? Well, no. You got to think about it. If you have an annuity or if you have cash value life insurance with any company, it could be any company, Guardian or Massmutual, doesn't matter. You're not just on your iPhone liquidating, like a bank account or a checking savings account. They don't have that, and so it's a lot different than millions of people or thousands of people going and just liquidating their account on their phone, because it's that simple to do it in a bank.
Right.
In a bank, when they have that kind of people, doing that at a time, that's when they fail. Whereas a life insurance company, run a bank. A life insurance company does not have that. So, for example, if you have an IRA in a life insurance company or an annuity in a life insurance company, and you say, I'm going to liquidate this, I'm afraid of everything, you're paying taxes.
There's rules.
Yeah, you're paying taxes, a penalty, so it's going to stop you.
Yeah.
Where if you have a checking savings account or a money market at the bank, I want money back, I'm scared. And that's how it happened. So the big difference between that is banks and life insurance is just it's completely different assets.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. He has the best, investments. He sits down with you, he'll go through a consultation, give you a strategy. It's non-ESG, it's non-woke investing as well. 21st Century Financial Group, Mark Haye here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Coming up, more with Mark, but we're going to announce our Raise ticket winner. The 2 tickets from Murphy Auto Group. Behind the plate, home plate, behind home plate. 2 tickets, Raise tickets, going to be announced on the flip side of this break. Stay with us here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Later on, Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy, and a special guest as well. We're going to talk about this open border, what's going on at FFA, Florida Firearms Academy, and more coming up here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Hey, follow us online. We'd love to connect with you at Brandon Rhymes1, at CQB Show, Brandon Rhymes PA on Facebook. And our YouTube channel has a plethora of resources for you. Over 2,000 videos on our YouTube channel, Brandon Rhymes Realty. We'll be right back. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
And offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team. Save our hotline. Give us a call if you need something. Mark Haye in the house. 21st Century Financial Group. He's our financial advising expert with the Consumer Quarterback Show. We always want you to think about this show, as the hub of your financial, your business will. Each one of those spokes extending out, representing another one of our on-air expert contributors, the absolute best in their business to help you save time, money, and kind of get ahead of the game. Be more street smart when it comes to your money and other aspects of business and life. So Mark Haye's in studio. Winner of the Rays tickets. Drum roll. Steve Crawl. Steve Crawl, congratulations. You are the winner. Congratulations on winning those 2 awesome tickets. Thanks to Mike Murphy Auto Group as well. Home plate, right behind home plate. I've sat there before. Really cool seats. And, man, the Rays are just doing awesome, too. Last time I looked down, it was like 26-6. I know it's changed from there, but what an awesome team. So that'd be fun. Congratulations, Steve Crawl. Winner of the Rays tickets, and we'll be in touch, or I think we're going to email tickets to you. Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy coming up too as well. We're going to jump into student loans here with Mark Haye in just a minute, as well as how tips are creeping into self-checkout, what we call the equivalent of retail panhandling. So we'll talk about that here in just a minute. Before we do, a couple of hot listings. 3058 Mildred Drive in Palm Harbor. This is a gorgeous property. It's on the canal on Lake Tarpon with access to Lake Tarpon. 3058 Mildred Drive. This is almost 1,400 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath home. You got a canal, you got a private boat dock, private pool, screened-in pool, corner lot, beautiful property on Mildred Drive, Palm Harbor. One of the listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. 3413 Lake Palermo Road in Waimama. This is another great listing, compliments of the Platinum MVP team. Linda Santarua is on my team, is a co-listing with me on this one. This is a beautiful property, 3734 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bath, Mediterranean-style home in a gated community. It's a beautiful property. Lake Palermo Drive in Waimama. That's in Hillsborough County, southeastern Hillsborough County. Beautiful property. You can see them all at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, Mark Haye, student loans, what say you?
Yep, so to continue on with our debt conversation, now it's back again where we're going to try to forgive student loan debt, and I think it was like $58 million, or it could be $1 billion. I don't remember. But the point is, if we're going up to a 2-week situation where we have no more money,
yep,
okay, and we got to raise the debt ceiling, we got to make cuts, we got to put a budget, and now we're going to say, okay, we're going to forgive all these student loan debts. It's inconceivable that this is even an opportunity to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because we don't have the money to do that. And at the same time, it's still not fixing it. What's the problem with our universities right now? Well, first of all, the education curriculum is whacked out.
Yep.
And thank the Lord we have Governor DeSantis here in Florida to put a stop to a lot of that stuff.
That's right.
Secondly, it's so astronomically expensive that when you go and say, I want to go to college, you really are just kind of like hoping that, okay, I can get a degree and get a job, and I can do a good living, and I can pay these loans back, and come to find out these loans are $150,000 loans at 10-12% a year, and I mean it's astronomically expensive. Meanwhile, all these universities got billions and billions of dollars of cash and endowment funds, while they're charging. I mean, to me, that's fraud.
It's changed. It's changed over the years, big time.
100%. Like, you can't go out and just tell these kids, 18 years old, yeah, just take a loan, you'll pay it off when you get a job, and have no idea of kind of really what it means, what you're signing up for. Meanwhile, they're pocketing billions of dollars, getting tax incentives and not paying this. Go fix the problem. It shouldn't be on the taxpayers to to pay everybody back.
By the way, read Charlie Kirk's book. Charlie Kirk wrote a book called The College Scam. Check that out. I highly recommend you read that, because if you're getting a degree that makes no sense and it's something silly, North African poetry or whatever, right? You're not going to get a good job. But if you're doing it for a good job to get a career, architecture, attorney, etc., right, doctor, then that makes sense. But in certain cases, but do it at a non-woke college, please, and don't send your kids to that. There's so many different stories I hear from parents regretting the indoctrination their kids got. They come home hating America. Oh yeah, but George Washington was cool, but he was a slave owner. So was everybody else on the planet back then. I mean, that's the short version of it.
And it's sad too. Not to interrupt you. It's sad too because we talked about it. Why can't we give loans as easy for people to start a business? Instead of an 18-year-old saying, I'm going to go take a $100,000 loan to go to college, I'm going to go start a hustle. I'm going to start a landscaping business. I got a
Trades.
lawnmower, and I'm going to go do this. You know, but I need
That's right.
$10,000 for a truck. Why can't we go do that?
Yeah.
You know, why can't we have a party and say, I'm starting a business. Everybody comes have a business opening party. We bring gifts. We shower them. We have, you know, instead of the baby showers or this, you know, we do that. Because that's really the backbone of America is small business.
Plumbers, electricians,
100%.
contractors, irrigation companies. I mean, right on down the line,
Yeah,
right?
and I think just graduating high school, go to college is such an old way of thinking. At
It
this
is.
point,
It
you
is.
know?
But
And we
but
could do
it's like
so
you
much
said
better.
before, keeping up with the Joneses, right? Oh, well, so and so Jimmy got into this one up in the Northeast, you know. Don't send them to the Northeast. That's where a lot of right. So we got Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Mark, we talked about the credit card debt, $1 trillion. Here's another interesting story. When you look at, because if you boil all this down, what happens is it's the elites. You know, the elites attack on the middle class. The elites attack, and they're placating to this with the student loans. Oh, we'll give the student loans. You know, they're placating to people to get votes. California, reparations in California. You know, that's moving down the line to be sworn into legislation potentially. So, you know, and you know what I hear when you hear about that too with the slavery thing. You know, first of all, it's centuries ago. And then secondly, what about the Native Americans? They got a pretty bad. Their lobbying group's not as good though, I guess, right? And so anyhow, here we go. So tips creep into self checkout in retail. Pandemic brought about the proliferation of two things: self checkout options, and touchscreen tipping prompts. Neither trend is popular, but the coexistence of both practices is enough to rankle even the most patient and generous shoppers. This is a report from the Wall Street Journal. Companies say electronic tips are distributed to shift employees, even if no one assisted customers directly. But critics say the onus is paying a living wage onto consumers. So again, more shift to the consumers, right? Something one shopper calls emotional blackmail, and another member says retail equivalent of panhandling. 30 seconds, back to you, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, in America, we're a lot different. You know, we tip. In Europe, they don't tip. So they come here, and it's just like a shock. Like, wow, we got a tip on top of all this.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying not to tip, but it does make you feel guilty. You go to Publix, and it's like, do you want to tip? Or do you want to give $1 to the starving kids? I mean,
Right.
yeah, of course I do.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
sign me up. But
Yeah.
people just don't have the money, so don't feel guilty. It is what it is. Like, you got to just get through and take care of your family, and the rest of it, you know, you're going to have to wait.
Yeah,
you know?
corporate skimming is out there too. You get a bag of potato chips, it's like 25% full, and the bag looks like this. I mean, we get corporate skimmed everywhere in America, and it's happening more and more. Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group. What's the website, Mark?
XXIFinancial.com, and you can text me 727-804-7220.
All right, and also reach out to the show hotline. We'll put you in touch with Mark Haye online at consumerqb.com. You can see his show card there as well. Coming up, Thomas King, Florida Firearms Academy, Second Amendment expert contributor on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.